Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm watching Why did Emperor Napoleon depose his brother by History Matters? I've never heard of Napoleon deposing his brother, but Napoleon did become an emperor, so anybody who could be a threat to him had to be removed. So maybe his brother did some shady stuff against him? I don't know. Let's see.
It's a universal truth that brothers don't always get along. And in 1810, the Netherlands, at this point ruled by Louis Bonaparte, was invaded by his brother Napoleon to help make this point. But given that Napoleon had been careful to make his brothers co-monarchs across France's client states because they were the only ones he could trust, why was it then that Napoleon felt the need to invade his brother's kingdom, depose him, and then
didn't trust him anymore?
So when the French Revolution kicked off, the Dutch Republic had been going through a rough time. Civil war and strife weakened the state, meaning that when it joined the coalition against revolutionary France, it did poorly and was soon defeated. Its semi-monarchical stadtholder William V fled and a new republic was declared. The problem was that its new rulers couldn't agree on anything and very little got done. The new Emperor Napoleon soon tired of this and was worried that a weak Netherlands would allow Britain to get a foothold on the continent.
It would,
As such, he demanded that Dutch leaders declare the creation of a monarchy led by his brother Louis Bonaparte or be invaded. They accepted and Louis Bonaparte was declared King of Holland and began to strengthen and centralise his new kingdom. He made major reforms to almost every aspect of Dutch life, and by and large most of these were popular. He built hospitals, reformed education, gave rights to religious minorities, as well as massively reducing corruption. And this, along with some public charity, led to his popularity booming, and he became well liked amongst the Dutch. So Louis had helped France in the War of the Fourth Coalition against Prussia, and his hope was that Holland would gain these lands. However, his brother decided that it would only get this, which didn't improve relations between the two. So what exactly went wrong? Well, as the Napoleonic Wars dragged on, Napoleon's demands of his client kingdoms became greater and greater, whereas Louis had been turning a blind eye to smuggling to and from Britain, which Napoleon considered a cornerstone of his plan to defeat London. The Emperor also demanded that Louis enact conscription to help France in case it ever needed to march east for some reason. Louis refused and furthermore reduced the size of the Dutch army to fund other projects. It won't surprise you to know that this upset Napoleon, who then withdrew French troops. And so, when the War of the Fifth Coalition began, the Dutch weren't able to help much. And also, the Kingdom of Holland was too weak to repel a British invasion here. He subsequently had to beg his brother for help, who sent troops and pushed the British out. As punishment for this failure to secure France's northern flank, Napoleon demanded his brother's abdication. But he did offer him the Spanish throne to sweeten the deal. Louis refused, and so Napoleon invaded and annexed these southern parts of Holland. Louis had hoped that this would be enough to sate his brother, but it wasn't, and Napoleon soon sent troops to occupy these lands by the coast and demanded that Louis let them into Amsterdam. At this point, Louis knew that it was over for him, and so he abdicated the throne in favour of his son, who, by the way, he left in Amsterdam with his wife and younger son whilst he fled the country for Austria. Of course, Napoleon didn't recognise the new king and soon annexed the entirety of the Kingdom of Holland into France proper. Napoleon tried to bring his brother back by offering him Bavaria, but his brother refused. Instead, spending the rest of the Napoleonic Wars urging his brother to make peace and maybe give him Holland back. This obviously didn't happen, and after his brother's defeat and exile, some Dutch leaders wanted Louis to return to the throne. However, the Great Powers refused because having a Bonaparte Netherlands next to a Bourbon France looked like a disaster
not a very good idea.
Happen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that the Allied powers did not want Napoleon's brother to come back, because that would be a big risk. They had so many wars to get rid of Napoleon, and now they're going to give an entire kingdom to his brother? Doesn't seem very smart. Napoleon did have legitimate reasons to depose his brother. You can't really side with either of them, because Napoleon's brother was making the lives of the people better. But by doing that, he was compromising the security of France, so Napoleon also had a legitimate reason to get rid of him. So yeah, I can't really side with either of them. They both had good reasons for what they did. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you're interested, why not watch this video right here? And with that, I hope I'll see you in the next video.